quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. And we're also gonna change the kickstand now, guys. Alright, let's take a quick look at it.
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I rolled over something. Camera don't look lopsided, right?
No, you're good.
Yeah, I know.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
SC Project branding logo, that's on here.
Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. And we're also gonna change the kickstand now, guys. Alright, let's take a quick look at it.
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I rolled over something. I'm looking into that, the Street Fighter.
Money work.
Yeah, I know. The older models.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
SC Project branding logo, that's on here.
Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. And we're also gonna change the kickstand now, guys. Alright, let's take a quick look at it.
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I rolled over something.
Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Yo, we made it to the 2-minute mark. You guys know the deal. Welcome to another Freestyle Sunday. Very excited to actually have my boy Alijah on today. Very interesting perspective. He is new to the motorcycle game, or I'd say game, not gang. That's what I meant to say. He's new to the motorcycle game. He's actually on here now hearing, but his story is extremely interesting, and I thought I'd bring him on and have him share it with you guys. A lot of his story kind of coincide with New York City riders, myself, my channel, meetups and stuff like that. And his first bike, which is a speed triple, which is a beast. So we'll kind of cover a lot of that stuff, guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight's conversation. If you tune in early, hit that thumbs up. We appreciate the support. It's definitely a big deal when we're talking about YouTube. Oh man, we're gonna do what we do best early on, guys. We're gonna say what's up to everybody, and then we're gonna shout out some of the sponsors of the show, because you guys know the only way we keep the show grinding and rocking is by getting people to support and start throwing some dollar signs somewhere. By the way, special shout out to the person that bought the full system for the ZX-10R for the 2022 with the link. Really dope, guys. I am seeing you guys. I see you guys shopping. I see you guys sharing the links. It definitely helps quite a bit. So shout out to you all that participate and actually help out. So it goes a long way. Let's say what's up to everybody right before we get to it. I know people usually come in very early, and some people kind of trickle in as we go through the night, but you guys know the deal. We always have to say what's up to everybody just to make sure we play nice early in the night. Saw Song early in the building. He had a meetup out in Florida. I heard it was pretty dope. We'll kind of highlight that a little bit, and point out what these guys are doing and some of the new things that they're doing, making their own little small group and inviting people out of town. I know Solo Rider went out to Florida and kind of rolled with them, so that was pretty cool. Also, we got Governor D Nice showing love early, but I can't stay tonight, bike family. Hope you all have a good one. Yes, sir. You could always watch it later or listen to it in your car. As you guys know, even though we're a visual podcast, it's always cool just to hear out the story when we go through the day. Of course, wifey's in the building. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys have had a good week. Spring is almost here, counting down for sure. So am I. I have a new bike coming, possibly 2 bikes I'm actually potentially getting. Get yourself a good wife, boys. She actually made me a drink. So, you know. Yeah, my wife is the best. It is what it is. I have to make mention that. Keep me fed, keep me happy. I'm always all good. Let's see what we got here. We have Solo Rider, of course, was good. Bike Fam. Futuristic Vipers in the building also was good. Bike Fam. Guys, really, really excited for the night. I think it's going to be a really cool position to be with. By the way, I did mention a little bit earlier, a big shout out to the people that are using the Motivation USA link, guys. We always appreciate you guys using these links to shop. It helps to support the channel, it helps support me. And of course, it's one way that you can actually continue to support what we do here. It doesn't matter which bike that you ride, what kind of style of bike that you ride. They have parts for each and every one of them, guys. Ducati, Yamaha, Kawasaki, you name it, you will find exactly what you're looking for, whether it's carbon fiber, whether it's wheels, you name it. And you guys know the deal. I rock all SE Project on my bikes, and also Ilmenberger carbon fiber, which is what I rock on my Street Fighter V4S and other bikes here, guys. So this is the place that I get all of my stuff. I mean, granted, I can't say I get all my stuff. They do provide a lot of components for my vehicles without any issue. So just to be kind of transparent here. But yeah, that's the place you want to go and shop if you want to show love and support, guys. Always, always appreciate it. But we will get to it a little bit later regarding other sponsorships. But big shout out. We currently have quite a bit of people on here at the moment, so we'll get this rolling. Let's give a warm welcome to my boy Alijah. Really excited to have him on for several reasons, guys. So welcome, Alijah.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's going on, man?
Yeah, man. The pleasure is all mine. Very excited to kind of have you on for several reasons. And let's just get it out the way right now. Your first big ride was actually with us.
Yeah, yeah. That was my first. I think I got my bike early on that year.
Mm-hmm.
Before I got the bike early on that year, and I did that ride with you guys.
How long ago was that? 2 years? 3 years ago? 4 years?
I think like 4 years ago. Like
Jesus
3 to 4 years ago. Yeah.
There's only two things I can think of. Either I'm old as hell, or time just fly by, man.
Oh no, time flies, man. Time flies.
And this is your first bike, the Triumph Speed Triple, correct?
Yeah, that was the first bike I got. When I was looking into bikes, I always loved the sound of the triple, the Speed Triple. I always like the sound that Triumph provides. So I wanted to get that bike. But I had a lot of people telling me, well, you know what? You just got your license, start on a smaller bike, then build up. And it's all true. But I believe that I wanted what one of my friends who raced flat track.
Okay.
He goes, man, I know you. You have self-control. Given that I'm coming from a martial arts background, I have a lot of self-control. I'm not a hothead. He goes, just get the bike you want. As long as you respect the bike and understand the power the bike has. And know, hey, I'm babying in. I'm kind of like baby steps. So I decided, you know what? I wanted the Speed Triple and just pull the trigger on it.
Well, I think it's a very interesting perspective. I always recommend for people to start with a smaller bike as well. But there's always one caveat, like you mentioned. If you know exactly who you are, if you're a mild-tempered person or you're disciplined, like you mentioned. By the way, guys, if you're unaware, Alijah is a pro fighter, right? Or you intermediate, or you entering.
Yeah, pro Muay Thai fighter.
Pro Muay Thai fighter, and he's a trainer. So you have a lot of discipline. So you could tell from someone's background how they're gonna behave or how they're gonna handle power when it's given. It's almost like who mentioned this? I think was it Jordan Peterson? For you to be, it's better to be a beast in a garden instead of being a gardener in a war. Then you'll be screwed.
I've heard that. I've heard him say that before. But it was kind of one of those things where I knew I didn't get into bikes because I wanted to go fast, and I just like enjoyed it. Okay. I wanted to ride. I wasn't one of those guys that's like, hey, I want to get a bike because I want to rip it all the time. I was like, I wanted to get into because I want to enjoy riding. You know what I mean? So when I got into it, I mean, I rode my bike from the dealership in Long Island home. The first day I picked it up from, I think, Gold Coast Motorsports. You know, I picked my bike up from there.
Oh wow, you got it from Gold Coast. I've gotten actually Gold Coast got me my Street Fighter actually when it was completely sold out everywhere. They actually went above and beyond and really kind of made it happen. And also, actually, the funny thing is that dealership found out about my sponsorship with Motivation and has really helped me a lot with motorcycles and really been extremely inviting to me and saved me a bunch of thousands of dollars. And they were great.
I researched a lot places to find my bike, and I was like, I wanted to go someplace where it was convenient and I could see the bike. And I believe at the time, Triumph Brooklyn, they didn't have there, so I went out there to Gold Coast, and it was pretty easy dealing with them. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was really easy to deal with them. Yeah.
I haven't been out there in a little bit, by the way, to Gold Coast. They've changed ownership, and I haven't bought with them. Usually they would invite me to events and stuff like that. But I've had a friendship with the owner. I usually, most of the time when I go to dealership, I always hang out in the service department. I always feel at home, because I like working on the bikes and stuff like that. And, talking to the guys that work on the bike, I feel like that's always a great way to build a great relationship with a dealership. And I would hang out downstairs often, and slowly people are like, oh, I should go upstairs and check out some of the bikes. And I'm not one of those people that like to get envious, or at least go to a dealership and start looking at all the bikes, and like all of a sudden I have like a bug to buy another bike.
I'm the same way too, man.
Yeah, because if you catch me at a dealership for a car or a bike or something, whatever it is, it's because I have money in hand or I'm ready. I could buy it out the door, no problem.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah. I don't go window shopping.
Yeah,
if I want something, I go out and get it. Yes. I don't go out just to look. No. But I got my bike from there, rode it home. You know what I mean? It was kind of scary first time being on a bike, because the funny thing is when I bought it, my friend went out with me. He took it out for a spin, and he was like, "Man, be careful. This bike has a lot of power. Be really careful on it." And coming back, I rode it back home. You know what I mean? And it was fun. You know what I mean? It was kind of scary being on the highway for the first time, along an expressway for the first time. But at the same time, took my time with the bike, and he led the way, and I kind of just stayed with him. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of fun, man. But I think because the background of martial arts and knowing why I wanted to ride, it wasn't like, hey, I'm trying to be the fastest guy on the road. I'm trying to pop wheelies. I'm trying to do this. No, it was like I wanted to enjoy riding a motorcycle. And I was like, I don't want to go through the process of buying something small and by the end of summer have to like go through the whole process trying to sell it and then try to look for what I want. I was like, you know what? They have what I want. Let me get it. And just understand, take your time. You know what I mean?
I think in your case, it works out because you're a pretty big guy. Well, you like 6'3"?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're a pretty big guy. I think being on a bigger bike might be ideal because you'd be pretty squished on a bike or something like that. I know you're pretty tall and stuff like that. But the one thing that's a positive, I think, grabbing the Triumph, their power delivery is extremely smooth. I think if you had an experience with another motorcycle, like something that's a little bit more choppy, something that's a little bit more torque-driven down low, it would be a different experience. So I think with Triumph, what tends to happen is that the way the power is delivered, how it's on a curve where it's kind of gradually going up, and then eventually you feel like the inertia of how fast it is, right?
Yeah. I mean, with the Triumph, it's not very choppy, so that made it very easy to ride. Yeah. And I think it's very beginner-friendly. It's a powerful bike, but it's very beginner-friendly. And my bike is a 2012, so there's no ABS. You know what I mean? I've had the back end lock up on me, I think once, but it wasn't a bad lockup. It was kind of like just a little skid. But again, I used to ride fixies a lot, so I'm used to the back end of my bicycle slipping all around, stuff like that. So I'm used to that. So when it slipped, it was kind of like, okay, that's when I had to get used to rev matching. Yeah.
So, that's not just a slip. What you experienced. That's funny you mentioned that. When you said you locked the rear, locking the rear. So I don't know if that bike is a slipper clutch or anything like that. So if you're not matching the revs, the RPM through the engine, and you downshift too quickly, the back will lock. That's not like what happened. What happened to Alijah, guys? Just a heads up. That's a gem right there. I think for some of those that might not know, it is what it is. Some people will know. there's a few ways of doing exactly that, sliding the back out. You could hit the rear brake really hard, and of course you're gonna lose traction in the rear wheel, and it'll slide. But if you're riding, you're going down the gears really quickly without slipper clutch or slip assist and all that stuff, the new tech, it will lock the back, and that could be detrimental to a new rider. So, again, that's impressive that you handled that really well. That a lot of people don't know. Yeah.
I think that came from me being able, from my years of riding fixie bicycles, like fixed gear bicycles. And I mean, I had no brakes and being able to lock it up and stay on it. Lock up the back and stay on it. So when it happened, I didn't panic. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I was coming off the exit of the Long Island Expressway and slowing down. And that's when I had to do a little bit more research and rev matching and all that things and kind of like making sure it didn't happen again. But I started, when I first started looking, when I was looking to get into motorcycles, I started looking at a bunch of videos online. And I watch anywhere from like, what's his name? Chase on Two Wheels. But then at the same time, I was like, I want to get a New York's perspective. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be in the mountains in Georgia. You know what I mean? I want to get a New York perspective of how it's like to ride in the city. Because that's where I'm going to be doing most of my riding. That's when I came across your videos. You know what I mean?
Yo, it's so wait, I gotta pause. Yo, no matter how many times people does this, like we talk, it's like, oh yeah, I've seen your videos and stuff. I always feel like it's semi-embarrassing, like, because.
Nah, dude, it was great, man, because it was just kind of like, for me, I'm a very visual person. I'm not one of those people that have to experience something to learn it. You know what I mean? I can watch something and learn and just, you know what I mean? So for me, a lot of I watched those videos. You were talking about rev matching. You were talking about a bunch of different ways how to throttle control, like your all old videos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it helped me a lot in the sense of when I got on a bike, I kind of have a sense of what I was trying to do, what I was paying attention to. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, let me try to figure this out. It's like, no, this is what this person is talking about. Learn how to do it, but learn how to do it on
your terms,
on my terms, slow speeds. You know what I mean? So it helped a lot. So that's why when you had that first meetup, I was like, I gotta go. You know what I mean? But
oh man,
it was good to just watch a bunch of different videos, and I even watch videos of crashes. And my wife goes, "Why do you watch that when you want to ride a bike?" I'm like, I want to know the mistakes. I want to know the mistakes people are doing, so I can avoid those mistakes.
You know what's so weird though? I don't watch crash videos. But then again, I didn't learn how to ride online and stuff like that. It's very different. And I get the perspective of you seeing and watching. I always feel like for me, observing or watching negative stuff will negatively impact. I feel like in my psyche, like, oh, maybe what if I slip taking this turn?
It's not, for me, it wasn't so much just watching crashes, but I would watch people break down crashes.
Okay. So
and like, hey, this is the mistake they made. This is this. You know what I mean? So it helped me kind of, when I got on the road, to be able to navigate and look out for those things. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've had one, I wouldn't even call it a close call. I've had one almost rear end in a car that was coming from Pick Skills.
Okay.
When it was late at night, and this guy decided, I was taking the skin off the exit of the highway. And this guy, he's in front of me, changed his mind that he wanted to go back on the highway, then changed his mind to get back on the exit again. And the divider between the exit and the highway, I decided, you know what, let me go in a straight line. Like, I'll brake in a straight line. And then he decided to go back out again. You know what I mean? So I ended up I braked, but I ended up hitting his back end just ever so slightly. You know what I mean? But it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, now I need to know to give a little more cushion between myself and other drivers. You know what I mean? So it wasn't that bad of a close call, but it was something to kind of like, hey, now you need to do this.
It seemed like you're learning a lot by experience, which I think fits your setup quite exact. Like, you're learning a lot by experience because as a trainer, as a fighter, a lot of observation, or at least watching other people, seems to be a thing, right? In order to understand someone's tactic, their quirks, right? Some of the patterns, understanding those.
Yeah.
I feel like you're applying a lot of those same things. And that's why I thought it would be a dope conversation having you on, because the relation to how every single person lives and how they enjoy their bikes, how they ride, tend to apply very differently. It's almost like seeing like a 16-year-old kid on a R1, right? He's invisible. He's going hard. He just, he doesn't see any of those. You've seen your experience where you're a tactical fighter, right? You're a trainer. You watch, you learn, and then you apply, and you're doing the same exact thing. And the weird thing is, not the weird thing is, the best thing is, you haven't had any oopsies. It's happening in small moderation that you're able to control and then not repeat.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's freaking cool. I'm gonna say now, guys. By the way, Elijah was like, I don't know if I want to come on the show, what we're gonna talk about, because I'm fairly new to the game, and I think those are really cool things. Seeing fresh perspective like that, it's great to have somebody that's on that season that knows how to talk about hitting an apex and throttling out of a corner and stuff like that. All those things are very impressive, but this is just as impressive to me, going back in time, because what tends to happen to all of us when we start getting enthralled into motorcycling and we're enjoying it, we're buying multiple bikes and stuff, we tend to forget a little bit of how the baselines work. Baselines was super important to me. If you remember them, you keep those structures, it's gonna provide you a long-term game in the riding motorcycle journey. And that's why it's crucial that your story's, being talked about tonight. So, again, just want to say thank you for coming on, man. I'm already enjoying our first 20 minutes immensely. I'm just going to say it now. Because, again, that's a fresh perspective. It's not often we get fresh perspective. We get a lot of people that, go hard and go fast. And it's also refreshing hearing someone enjoying their bike. I spoke to a good friend of mine today as well, shared the same sentiment of enjoying motorcycling a little bit different, as time goes by, from super fast to cruising, and even considering opting out of the super bike world to just getting something more enjoyable purposefully for himself. So it's an interesting concept that tend to happen over time.
I think it's great, man. I mean, from the first time when I did your meetup, it was good to kind of see the camaraderie between bikers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for me, that was a new introduction into that world. I mean, I've never been in that world before, so it was a good introduction into that world, and seeing how everyone was just automatically super chill. And it kind of related to the Muay Thai fight community, where it's a very chill community, there's camaraderie within the community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some of my good friends I've met are people I've fought before. You know what I mean? And we've beaten the shit out of each other, but after that, we became really good friends. So it's really cool to see how that kind of, it's very similar, different worlds, but very similar in the sense of the camaraderie.
Yeah.
Between those worlds. Yeah.
So walk us through going to NEMM. I know it was several years ago. By the way, guys, I'm definitely gonna be doing like some meetups moving forward. I've given it a lot of thought over the winter, considering what am I going to be doing with the channel, and I've been a lot more active regarding uploading. I'm doing a new schedule, so it's going to be actually I'm already doing it. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, regular YouTube upload. If you guys missed those videos, probably do miss them because they're pretty low on view counts. Because I haven't been uploading for a long time, so I'm just getting into the algorithm rhythm. So definitely check them out and hit the thumbs up. I upload Friday, Saturday, Sunday full videos. On Monday to Wednesday, I do shorts. And then I'm also adding on Thursday, just doing recap of the streams that we do on Sunday. So we'll see like 3 short clips, about 3-minute clips highlighting those. So definitely check them out. Again, one of the biggest thing for the channel for us to kind of move forward is really frequency, because my channel suffers immensely from the lack of videos going up since I somewhat had an off on the channel. So very excited to kind of mention that. But just kind of walk us through being in a group ride as a new rider, and your experience with at least our setup for a group ride, because I take a big amount of pride when I'm doing any kind of thing motorcycle related or work related or art related or whatever it may be. I feel like it's very important to be super organized and in an inviting space. and safe, because I don't want that to be on my conscience, someone getting hurt. And since we're here, people might not know you do have a family and stuff like that. So that's important when someone come through and come and enjoy motorcycles, they go home just as much. So walk us through that in the meetup. And was it a good experience or bad?
No, it was a great experience, man. And especially for me, being a new rider and not knowing how to navigate in a group ride. I mean, I've watched videos on how to ride in a group ride, what not to do, what to do, but it's not till you in it and you realize, like, holy shit, there's a lot of people. Am I good enough to ride with them? You know what I mean? And everyone rides differently.
Yes.
You can't really control. It's very hard to control how people ride in a group ride. You could try, which I think you did a really good job of kind of navigating the entire way up to Bear Mountain. I think we went to a barbecue spot.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Went to a barbecue spot up there. But I thought you did a very good job just before we start with the meetup, at the meetup spot, to just kind of, hey, guys, this is the rundown of what we're doing. This is how I want you to ride. We don't want to get stopped by any cops. We want to be respectful and this. And what I noticed, which was great that you did throughout the entire ride up there, you would speed up, get up front, but then you would fall back, and you would kind of navigate the entire way up there, but not just from the front. You would hang back and kind of like see how people are moving. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think you had some other guys with you to help with like traffic, and so it was really great. It was really good to see.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, and it was a lot of work. And when I look at the videos, to be honest, I don't know how much fun I had that exact day. When we got to a spot where we ate and had barbecue, that was amazing. You know, chopping it up with everyone in the morning, looking at bikes and stuff like that. That stuff was extremely cool. I actually took off about a week from work just to scout the road, scout the best routes and stuff like that. I went to the route about 3 times and made sure that it was something that's conducive to everyone, that's going to work. I rerouted it again. Also, it was myself and 3 other riders that we kind of collabed to kind of do it. I had someone guiding the front, someone riding the rear, and then we had like a how do you call those medical guys?
What?
EMT?
Like an EMT?
Yeah, that was somewhat in the mid. And then I rode like the cattle almost like you saw me bouncing to the front and bouncing to the back and just making sure everything is smooth and stuff like that. So I played that role and stuff like that. And it was a really cool thing, but extremely stressful, a lot of work.
But I think the fact that you were, like you said, with the cattle, you were bouncing back and forth, it made it comfortable for me as a beginner rider to see someone who organized that. It's kind of like, hey, I'm on the lookout for you guys. You know what I'm saying? So I was really comfortable riding that ride, knowing that, hey, it wasn't like, hey, guys, let's meet up and go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was kind of like, hey, this is how we're riding. This is what we're doing. This is what we're going to stop. We are not trying to get stopped by the cops. We're being respectful. And it was good. It was a good group of guys. So that day I was able to meet a couple of people, you know what I mean, other fellow riders. But I remember on the way back, I think it rained coming back. Like the weather didn't say rain, but coming back, it was like literally torrential downpour. Yeah. And I remember my wife calling me back like, hey, where you at? I'm like, nah, it's raining out here. And she's like, what are you talking about? She was like, it's dry down here. And by the time I came home, I'm like completely dry. She was like, what are you talking about? It rained. You're dry. I'm like, well, feel my boots. My boots are wet.
You know what's the crazy thing? I'm glad you brought up the whole rain aspect. We ended up staying in the barbecue spot while it rained, and it's like we're just gonna stay here and eat, and then it dried, and then we all left. But what the stressful part of setting up these rides and setting up these events is so many variables, and I think that's the stressful part. The fact that you're making sure everyone's safe, you make sure everyone has the route, you want to make sure there's no rain, you want to have a backup plan in case the weather's wrong, because we're like, we should do it early while it's sunny, while it's shiny, in case of anything, if it rains. So we have a backup of a backup of a backup, and that's just wild. And the way the setup is, it was meant to be comfortable, even though I didn't even know you were a new rider when you were there. That's the funny part. But the way it was laid out, everyone was staggered. And one thing that most people never mention about this whole event, my wife and I mean, it was old school, so we do that. Now I do it differently. My wife and I, we did cards with the address. We did like 100 cards. I think it was a total of maybe 70 bikes that showed up that day. That's when my channel was like liquid hot, like, you know, everyone knew through New York, like, yo, Mike's coming through, so everybody came out. We did cards with the address, the end goal, in case there were some stragglers that fell out. Everyone had a card of the address, so no need to try to catch up or, like, you know, go, you know, triple digit over to try to catch up. If you fell back in line, everyone had a card while we were doing the meeting in the morning with the address. At least we can meet up towards the tail end of the ride where we're eating and everything like that. I think it was one of my better achievements, I'd say. Well, I mean, in the exact time, it didn't feel like it. It just felt very stressful. A lot was going on. But
I mean, for you, it probably felt stressful because you were trying to keep. I can't really see how it would have been a fun ride for you in the sense of you had to constantly bounce back and forth and just make sure everything was organized. So you weren't really focused on the ride. You were focused on, hey, let me make sure everything went right. So for you, I gotta see it probably wasn't a fun ride, but from my perspective, it was just like being a first rider there. I didn't feel like at any point people were like just blowing past you or cutting you off and doing it. Everyone stayed at a pretty good pace and pretty staggered. You know what I mean? So it was fun, man.
By the way, zero crash, zero hiccups, zero everything, and maximum fun. And the food was delicious. So we're definitely going to do it. So I'm doing something a little bit differently moving forward. I'm going to be doing small groups. I think the motorcycling community has changed a lot in those years. And I think the culture has changed a lot. And it's personally, I think it's risky just meeting with anybody and just ride, because I think what tends to happen with us, you know, like everyone gets like the machismo, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, look at my bike, it's fast, and it's like a little weird. And I think that's made me shy away a lot for a couple of years from riding with big groups, because I would feel like an idiot if I were to get hurt or someone else get hurt just messing around. It's like that, you know what I mean? So. But moving forward,
it's always risky riding with big groups.
Yeah,
it's always
yeah. But I'm definitely gonna do it again this year. I think I'm gonna be closer. I'm gonna be in Manhattan a lot, and I'm also bringing back a lot of the New York videos. The best way to do it in New York.
But the thing about it, just your videos of just riding through the city, man, was fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Your night rides through the city. And seeing stuff like that. I remember one of your videos, I think one of your first videos I saw was when you got pulled over for your GoPro. The cop pulled you over for your GoPro. Yeah. So that was a while back. You know what I mean? So it was fun to see those things. And especially for a new rider, it was kind of like watching someone from New York. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's good. Yeah, it's cool to watch someone from Atlanta doing it, and they go into the mountains and stuff like that. But it's like watching someone navigating the city and telling you about this and telling you about the city and how to ride in the city, and you see how they ride through the city. You know what I mean? It kind of gives you a perspective of like, hey, this is what I'm going to be encountering. So it was good for me to watch.
There's something special about seeing your city when you're watching. I think when you watch somebody from Bangkok or whatever, and it's like, yo, this is really cool. When you're seeing your it's like, oh, I eat lunch over here. You know, I walk down here or whatever it may be. I think that's something that's very unique, and it connects really quickly. And this is exactly why I'm bringing back those videos. Also, I'm in Manhattan a lot more now, and I'm going to be riding through the Manhattan. So those videos definitely are coming back, and I think I could do them even better than the way I did them before. It might not be as risque, I'd say, because your boy's a little bit more mature now. But again, I think a lot of people don't understand when they see my videos. I either get nice work, or it'd be like, man, you're going kind of hard for like street riding in New York City. I'm like, but it's more of feeling the energy and then moving through the waves. Yeah. You can't be like, oh, I'm gonna make a left. Let me make a left. It can't be that way. It's something you have to experience to understand. But when I'm out in open road, I follow the rules exactly. When I'm in New York City traffic, I'm flowing with traffic. I'm flowing with the best course of action. And it's not designed to be done with like multiple people, because when an opening opens and you catch it, if you're with somebody else, they're not going to catch the same opening. It's like a fraction of a second, you're moving through it. So it's one of those things that if multiple people are swerving around finding the best path to make it to point A to point B, it's a very unique thing and showing the city. So I'm actually excited for it.
I've done that a couple of times with friends and just navigating through the city. And like you said, the same way someone might see an opening and it might not be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I've had times where I went on a night ride with my friends on the Long Island Expressway, and it's like he is blasting up the Long Island Expressway, and I'm like, dude, I'm new to riding. I'm like, I am not ready for that. But a good thing is, like, we knew where we were going, so I was like, I'll just let him go and I'll meet him there, rather than being like, hey, I'm going to try to keep up with him. He was a little bit more experienced than I was, and my bike could keep up with his, but I was like, there's no way my skill level could keep up with his.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let him go. I'll meet him there. You know what I mean? If we get separated, we get separated. I know my way back home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at least I get to make it back home.
So how do you deal with having a fast bike like this and not have the urge to like go hard with it and stuff like that?
I mean, I do once in a while, but I kind of pick my spots. And I try not to ride more than what I know I'm capable of. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm on the Long Island Express, I mean, over the pandemic, I trained clients in the Hamptons, and so I'd ride out to the Hamptons. You know what I mean? And over the pandemic, early Saturday morning, it's clear roads going to the Hamptons. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you're able to open it up a little bit. But I know, hey, when there's a lot of traffic, I've had incidents coming from Bear Mountain where I'm coming down the Comet, and there's a guy ripping past me. He's like, yeah, come on. And I'm like, bro, go ahead, man. I'm good. You know what I mean? And by the way he was riding, I know he's more experienced than I know he knows how to navigate. So I'm not an ego-driven person. Like, hey, you know what? Yeah, let's go. It's like, no, bro, go right ahead. You know what I mean? If anything, I'm gonna hold you back. So go ahead. I'm good. You know what I mean? Because I'm a very solo person. You know what I mean? I don't cling on to people that much. So it's like, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh man, look how fast this guy going. Let me catch up to him. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those. Yeah.
Well, it's good to be self-aware. I mean, it's one of, to be honest, man, you should be extremely happy where you are when you're riding. Because I think there's a level of growth that's happened over time when you're riding. As I mentioned, when you're 18, you like the super bike, you're doing pretty much anything and everything. And this is not to say that there's anything wrong with riding the way you want to ride. That's fine. The point I'm making here is understanding where you are and understanding how far you should go and take it, and then being able to harness what you have and enjoy. I think a lot of us tend to either cross those lines, because I think in a lot of cases I've seen crashes, or at least been in crashes, where it's 99% my fault or the person's fault, not the bike. It's always just overdoing what you're not capable of achieving yet.
Yeah, most definitely. I think it's riding a bike is enjoyable, but one of the things about it's like when I first started riding, I only rode with a couple of guys from the gym that rode. So when we went to Bear Mountain, it was probably 6 guys, and we all knew where each other were on that level wise. So it was, hey, let's go for an enjoyable ride up to Bear Mountain, not, oh, let's go and we're gonna rip it. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? And my friend that rides flat track, I mean, he's been racing flat track for years and he's really experienced. But at the same time, he was kind of like, hey, dude, we're going to I'm going to lead nice and slow pace. If you feel you can't keep up, slow down. I'm going to constantly keep checking on you, and I'll drop it down. You know what I mean? And it was I never felt riding with those guys that I had to rush anything. And I think that's where the problem comes in. When you ride with people and you're like, hey, oh man, we going so-and-so, and I got to rush to keep up with him.
It's a tough thing, especially this is especially a YouTube thing. I don't know. You've probably seen one of my videos, hyper videos. I was riding with a really big group, and I had just bought the hyper, and it worked to my favor. I had just bought it. Still had like Actually, I only have like about 1,000 miles on the Hyper. Actually, I'd say still pretty much new. I'd say. I was probably maybe 300 miles on the bike, and usually I don't crack the throttle all the way open. When I uploaded the video, I was kind of cruising through the ride. I just really wanted to enjoy the environment of all the bikes and stuff and all the people. And of course, you're gonna get people like, man, you weren't going fast like everybody else. I think it's just the natural thing that happens amongst all of us when we're together. And I'm like, one, the bike is brand new. Two, I really don't give a shit. I'm here for a different purpose. You know what I mean? It's like when I go, in most cases, I'm finding when I'm going fast and I'm enjoying speed with the bike, I'm solo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because again, I'm solo.
I've done solo rides to Bear Mountain by myself.
When I'm going at my fastest, I'm solo, because what happens is 3 people, 4 people, I don't have to think of the last person, the person behind me, does he know my tendencies? Does he know I'm going to hit the rear brake at this point? Does he know anything? No, right? If the person reads you slightly wrong, they could hit you, they could rear end you, or whatever it may be. I'm usually going fast by myself, and I usually ride fast on the northern state at night, or I go by the beach by my home. I'm usually solo. I don't even really record those things, only because they're not like stuff I deal with. I just want to portray that a little bit, because I try to carry my channel a little bit differently in terms of sponsorship and people that I work with. I like to upload an experience which is a little bit different, which is perfectly fine. But I tend to go fast kind of solo, in my opinion, because there's less risk. Again, if I cut a car on the left or the right, or whatever it may be on the fast lane, again, as I'm in tunnel vision and I'm doing this, that opening is only for me.
Yeah.
I saw a clip today of 3 guys riding. Someone sent it to me. First guy cut through so smooth, easy peasy, right? Second guy cut through, nearly hit the guardrail because the car almost clipped him. Third guy, the gap was completely closed already, and tried to make it and smash into the car. It's not that it wasn't an opening. Whoever's at first already made that gap. Everyone else is pursuing that, and it's closing already. The opportunity has been lost. It's closed after the first person. On a bike, it's instantly. And I think a lot of riders tend to forget that. If you're riding MotoGP, you're racing, that's different, because it's a track. Everyone's racing, everyone's trying to be ahead. With other vehicles, whatever obstacles is in the way, based on your inertia of going forward, everyone else going forward, how fast or how slow, coming, right? You cut through here, they're still moving, maybe this close, that opportunity is gone. So I think a lot of people forget, like, one opportunity is not all for five of us. A lot of riders forget that all the time. One guy makes it through, 5 trying to pass through, and it's a recipe for disaster.
I think a lot of times when you see things like that happen is because everyone is just like, hey, you know what? This guy make it through. I'm going to make it through because I want to keep up with him. It's more the thought of I'm going to keep up with him, not realizing like, hey, that gap has closed. Yeah. And I think that's where people don't pay attention. And for me, again, from watching content, I watch content to learn. I wasn't just watching content to be like, oh, it's bikes. No, I was watching content to kind of pick up things and be like, hey, those are things I want to learn. Those are mistakes I want to see happen and know I need to look out for those things. You know what I mean? Whereas a lot of guys, when you're writing groups, they're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to keep up with this guy. So they're not even paying attention to the gap is closed. They're like, their mind thought is, their train of thought is, I'm going to keep up with him. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they got to realize like, yeah, well, if I'm going to take that opening, can the guys behind me keep up with me? No. So am I going to take that opening? No. Yeah. You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't realize those type of things. And this is why when I first started, I watched a lot of videos just to kind of learn those little things and watch people break down videos, break down riding, how to ride, how not to ride. Yeah. And like a lot of ways to prevent accidents. I think I watched Dan the Fireman. Yeah, somebody in the comment did mention, it's like, yo, there's 100% chance this guy watched Dan the Fireman. His breakdowns are great. It's not just watching crashes for sake of crashes. He kind of analyze it and give a breakdown and stuff. Hold that thought, by the way, guys. We are going to talk about his next motorcycle, which is something you guys might find very interesting. But
We definitely got to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, guys. You guys know the deal. Also, always appreciate you guys shopping with Manscaped, so check them out, boys. Let's welcome Manscaped to Freestyle Sunday, a proud sponsor of the channel. Boy, I'm excited to tell you guys it's something you're gonna have to get. Manscaped is the absolute best when it comes to men's grooming down there. Trust me, I'm good to go. Wifey would agree.
That's right.
They also provided the Performance Package 4.0. You can join me and 7 million other men worldwide by using coupon code CFNY20 for free shipping and 20% off. You won't regret it. You hit me up later, be like, man, when I got off the bike, I felt good and fresh. The Performance Package 4.0 is an absolute game changer. Here's what comes in the package. The Lawnmower Trimmer 4.0, Weed Whacker Ear and Nose Hair Trimmer. It also includes the Crop Reviver Toner, and my favorite out of everything else, a high quality boxer. It's absolutely breathable. So when you're out there on the road riding your motorcycle all day, you're not gonna sweat through it, especially with ball deodorant in combination with those boxers. Trust me, you're good to go at all time, guys. They also even include a travel case. Amazing value. The Lawnmower 4.0 has advanced technology with a ceramic blade that's gonna tremendously reduce the chance of you nicking yourself. Get 20% off with free shipping with code CFNY20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code CFNY20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tool for the job with Manscaped. Yeah, boys. By the way, thank you to everyone that's been tuned in, that's watching the channel and supporting and using some of these codes, guys. They definitely help tremendously. And if you're not shopping for yourself, you're shopping for a friend or a gift. These things are always helpful to the channel and myself. Keeps the light on, keep the equipment stuff coming. So more deals, more sponsorship means better quality, bigger guests. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. So Elijah, have to mention this. I know you're potentially going to be getting a new bike. Are you keeping the Triumph, or are you going to upgrade to a new bike and then swap it or sell it, or this is your baby, you're going to keep it?
I was thinking about swapping it.
Okay.
But then I'm thinking about I might keep it. You know what I mean? Given it's the first bike, I might keep it. So I'm thinking about keeping it. But I'm really looking into the Street Fighter.
Well, the V4 or the V2? V4 all day. Let's go.
V4, of course, yes. The V4, of course, yes. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at that. But I'm looking into that because for me, I'm big into the way motorcycles sound. Mm-hmm. The sound of motorcycles, and this is one of the reasons I kind of like love Triumph. Mm-hmm. I love the sound of Triumph. But I'm also looking to get an older Ducati. Okay. Because with that dry clutch and kind of hear that raspy sound, that broken down sound. So I'm kind of looking to get one of those also.
Man, you know, I came this close to buying a Monster 1200S. Came this close in gray, in liquid concrete gray. And a good friend of mine slapped some sense into me. He was like, hey, man, you know, you have enough of this style of bike. Yeah. You have an opportunity to just get something completely new. So I'm looking at a sport bike.
I was looking at the Monster, but for some reason, I don't like the new profile of the new Monsters.
No, I don't. That bike to me is a miss.
Yeah, I was just like, I looked at the profile. I'm like, dude, when you look at the Monster, you like this brawly bike, and now I'm just like, the profile of the tank. I'm just like, yeah. Nah.
It's like a hump at the top. I mean, it's a good bike ride wise. All right, it's meant to keep up with the Street Triple. It's meant to be kept up with the FZ09s, the SP, and all that stuff. And the problem is that it's missing the Ducati. It's basic to me. It looks like a MT-07, a Yamaha.
Yeah.
I
saw it and I was just like, yeah, you guys missed with this one. I love the old Monster.
And I understood why they did that. I mean, it's meant to wait because Ducati's not developing a new engine. It's a business decision when you really look at it. They're not going to develop a whole new engine for the line of bikes. What tends to happen with Ducati, they take their superbike, they create, the 1098, they have the Street Fighter version of that, and they keep working that engine and recouping their money that they've invested long term. Now it falls into the Monster line, and if you notice, My Monsters engine has fallen into the Scrambler line. They're still recouping money and it's super refined. They've had it for years and years and years. They perfected it runs better, it's more efficient, but now it's in the Scrambler. And what was in the Superbikes before, the 1098 and the old Street Fighter has been dropped down to the Hyper, right? Yeah, my Hyper, the new Hyper. They've also moved it down, and then now you have the V4. The V4 only fit on a few platforms now. Actually, a lot more platforms now. They're slowly transitioning it from Superbike, doing all of the high-speed stuff or all the racing. Now it's been moved down to the Street Fighter Panigale was first tier, Street Fighter second tier. Then they went with the Multistrada V4 third tier, and then now they moved it to the Diavol. So it's going to be a while before you start seeing it pass down, and then they're keeping that the V2 sound on the 959 SP2 and the new Monsters. So it's kind of a miss. They're not going to develop a whole new engine. I kind of went on a rant there for a little bit, which is kind of bad. Instead of them working on getting a new engine, they tune it differently and they remove the frame to make it lighter. So having a lot of power and then having weight it negates the power. So keeping the power high and then removing the weight, now it feels faster. So they went with that, but then the bike let's just look. My personal opinion, as a designer, if I was part of that team, I would have kept the triple tree attached to the front end of the engine, just like the Panigale. The back area, I would have put the trellis frame as a nod. Because if we have a little bit of it, and people would be like, yes, there's still essence of it. It's just completely gone. It's a better bike, but is it still a monster? It's debatable. I'm sure it is, but it's debatable. Look-wise.
Look-wise, it just doesn't look like a monster to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like, one of the things I got to say, too, I got to give a big shout-out to Brooklyn Motos.
Yeah.
Mike at Brooklyn Motos. He helped me a lot when I got my bike. I was obviously looking for a mechanic. When you have a bike, you're always looking for a mechanic.
Yeah.
And you want a mechanic and I met him because he's literally next door to our gym in Brooklyn.
No way.
He helped me a lot.
Dude, yeah. I go to see him, Mark, all the time. He's worked on my Hyper. He's done work. Dude, he's good people. He's actually been on the show.
Yeah. One of our gyms are literally right next to his shop.
Yo, it's a small world. The owner of Gold Coast lived right in that area.
Oh wow.
It's a small world, dude. Like the motorcycling world is crazy small. That's wild, man.
But he helped me a lot because anything I wanted to get done with my bike, I went to him, and he was the one who encouraged me to kind of start working on my bike over the pandemic. He was like, dude, you got nothing else to do. Fucking learn your bike. Sorry, excuse my language.
No, it's fine.
He was like, learn how to work on your bike. Learn your bike. Get familiar with your bike. You don't have to bring the bike to me every time when you think something's wrong. You know what I mean? I remember I was changing my clutch plates. And he ordered all the parts for me. And he was like, hey, all the parts came up to X, Y, and Z. And he goes, if I have to install it for you, it's going to cost X. He goes, you have time at home. Learn your bike. You know what I mean? So he encouraged me a lot to be able to work on my bike and get more familiar on the mechanical side of things. Not just, hey, you're riding your bike, but learn how to fix things. And I kind of got a bug where I started to kind of do everything on my own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's a very interesting mechanic. Go ahead.
Yeah. If I had a flat tire, I would literally get a flatbed, bring the bike over to him. He was like, dude, learn how to take your tire off. You know what I mean? A simple thing like that. Just bring me the tire. You know what I mean? So all those simple things, as a new rider, you like, oh man, I don't want to touch this because I don't want to break it. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I ended up running into an issue with changing my clutch plates. One of the bolts snapped.
Oh no. Guys, this is what we talk about torque spec, by the way, and that's the fear most people have.
That was taking it out.
It snapped taking it out. Oh, so I wonder if they over torqued it in. Yeah. And it worked fine, and then when you had to take it out, the molecular structure of the bolt was already destroyed. Yeah. So did you learn how to take that out, or should we? Let's talk about that. That's a good one, guys. That's a gem right there.
I had to learn how to take it out, man. I had to I had to figure it out.
So
Watch
you
YouTube
tapped
videos.
it.
Yeah, tapped it. Be able to.
I'm excited right now. I'm excited right now. Look at you.
So I had to do all of that. You know what I mean? From you watching your videos, I ended up changed my exhaust. Got the SC Project exhaust on there. You know, I ended up getting that from Motivation USA.
Thank you,
which
sir.
was really easy to get. You know what I mean? So all those little things, just learning how to do those things on my own rather than like, hey, oh man, I want to do this upgrade. Let me take it to Mike. You know what I mean? I kind of did those things on my own. So it was really helpful. Yeah. And I like him because he's not a guy that's all about like, hey, bring the bike to me, pay me to do it.
Yeah. He's an interesting
you know
person that's a mechanic. I'm going to touch base on two things. He's an interesting guy to be a mechanic. I actually like Mark a lot. He's good people, but he's also nerfing his own business. And I find this very interesting also. I was actually very taken back. He was like, I watch your fucking videos, man. I've never opened a Street Fighter before. I said, I watch your videos. I'm like, this guy's a master mechanic. He's watching me and then going out to do it. So he's a very open-minded individual, and he's willing to learn off people, and he's willing to share his knowledge as well. So he's really, really cool in that aspect. The other thing is, he also has a family. I'm like, yo, you have a family to feed and stuff. I'm going to pay you if you're going to touch my bikes. And he's like, nah, don't worry about it. I'll pay him. But he encouraged people to do it themselves. I'm like, but then you talking yourself out of your own gig here. You know what I mean? But he's honest. He's honest. Go ahead.
But I think that's what, in a way, draw business to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because that person might recommend somebody else to go to you because they know you're a trustworthy mechanic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not someone that's like, oh, bring it to me, pay me to do it every single time.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, no, learn it. Like if there's something you can't do, yeah, I'll do it for you, but learn your bike. And I think it made my riding better because I actually knew my bike.
Yeah. And you can tell when something is a little weird too. When you do touch the bike, I know some people would ride their bikes for a long period of time. Something is off from it. It's not running right. And they don't realize until later. They do an oil change. There's so much shaving. The damage has been progressing so far, and they can't tell. They don't feel anything. I think stuff like this tend to happen. But the other thing I wanted to quickly kind of touch up is the fact that that bolt you had snap on. We usually lightly touch up on torque specs and why you want to kind of tighten stuff down a certain way or whatever. Again, just quickly, I'm talking about this because I wanted to kind of mention it. So obviously his bolt was over torqued, right? The reason why it broke because the molecular structure already kind of deteriorated, right? And then as you're backing it out, it broke. Now the interesting thing is, at least would be fun. If it happened to you, it's not going to be fun. It's going to be like, oh my God, what the fuck, right? You have to tap that bolt. Hopefully it's big enough hole for you to do that, right? You can drill it into the actual bolt itself. So let's say this is the bolt. You drill into the bolt, right? And then you get yourself a bit, right? You tighten it into the bit, and then you can back out the broken aspect, right? That's one way of fixing that problem. In some other cases, people cross-thread, meaning that if it's going this way to tighten clockwise, taking it out as counterclockwise, right? If you cross-thread, you ruin the actual block. That's a big problem. You can tap that and re-thread it and get yourself a spring threader and put it back in where you could actually... I'm probably going into details, but these are some of the biggest things that people get scared of ruining on a bike. There are ways of fixing it and stuff like that. So I just wanted to quickly kind of mention this and stuff. But it's amazing that you went that deep and able to fix that and tap and remove the broken screw or bolt.
No, it was. I kind of panicked for a little bit because I mean, being the first time opening this thing up. And I mean, I've done simple things as changing the tail light and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But never really opening up that. So when it happened, I was like, holy shit, what the fuck do I do? What the hell do I do now? You know what I mean? And then, you know what I mean? I did some research and was able to get it out. But all due to Mike, it was kind of like, I learned how to, hey, if something's happening to my bike, let me try to figure it out. If it's too in depth where I'm like, hey, you know what, this is way past what I could do, I'll call him up like, hey, I need to bring my bike in. This is what's happening. You know what I mean? So me learning how to fix my bike, change my oil, do all those simple things. When I ride my bike now, I feel more connected to the bike.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not like a car. You on four wheels,
Mm-hmm.
something break down in your car. You're like, hey, I'm good. On a bike, you're on two wheels. Something break down. You like it could be really bad depending how fast you're going.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it helped me kind of get more in tune with my bike to kind of know those things. Yeah. It helped a lot.
The other thing I was just thinking about it, like with you doing some of these projects with the bike. Did you? I mean, you mentioned that Mark mentioned for you to kind of work on it whenever you can and kind of have a better understanding. Was that your initial intention when you first got the bike, that you were going to be doing those things, or you were like, oh, I'm just going to take it to someone and kind of get it done?
Yeah, I kind of thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to get a mechanic, have them do it. I never thought, hey, I'm going to work on my own bike. I'm going to go in depth. Never thought that. No, that wasn't even something I thought of when I was buying my bike.
By the way, isn't it extremely satisfying when you resolve one of those issues? One of the most satisfying things ever, when you encounter a problem and then you resolve it. And the other one of the biggest tip I tell anybody that's potentially interested in working on their own bikes, or at least potentially attempting to work on it, don't touch the bike for a long period of time. It's almost like me doing wheelie practice. I spend a lot of time studying my footage more than doing it. Spend your time researching and finding, knowing all the pieces, all the steps before you start doing it, and all the organization goes a long way. So, for example, if you have to stop and go and look this up, it's a problem. Go through the route before you even touch the bike, and then find out some of the oops sections, like where people have made common mistakes and stuff like that, and have all the tools ready and stuff like that. That stuff goes a long way if you're going to work on your own stuff, instead of you like, oh, I'm going to take this fairing off. Oh, shit, I didn't know there was a tab there. I broke one tab out of the 3. Things like this.
I kind of ran into things like that a little bit. Not so much breaking things, but kind of like, oh, shit, I need this tool. I don't have it.
Now you're waiting for like 3 days.
Now you're like, oh, man, I need this tool. I don't have it. Now I got to try to get this tool.
Yeah.
So I kind of had little things like that happen to me when I was changing my tail light, license plate, you know what I mean, tail tidy and all those things. When I was doing those things, it was like, I just went in and kind of like, oh man, I want to get it done. Oh man, it's gonna look so cool doing it. And then you're like, oh man, I took all this thing apart, but I don't have the tool to do this last thing. You know what I mean? So now you're like, everything just have to sit there. Now I can't ride. So I had to learn again, trial and error in that route. Yeah. But it wasn't anything major. It was just kind of like, hey, you're doing your tail tidy, you know what I mean? Your tail lights, your signals, you know what I mean? Things like that.
And that's where the research come in, like knowing the tools, the oopsie areas, and you will know. It's like, oh, I don't have a spring puller. I'm gonna order one in Amazon or wherever you're gonna get it. And then when I have everything lined up, like I have a whole ritual when I'm working on the bike, like, now that I'm more experienced and know exactly what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and my approach. And I usually I even go as far as to picking the perfect day. It's like, oh, it's going to be 50 degrees today, so the garage is going to be open. It's not going to be hot in there. I wake up early in the morning. I'm like 6 a.m. as if I'm going to work or something like that. I lay out all my stuff. Any like torque specs, I have it all laid out. By the time it's like maybe 8, 9 o'clock, I have coffee. Okay, I'm good. Everything's ready. Gloves are ready. And then I do it like that. Like there's like a flow of way that I approach when I'm doing those. It's not a necessity, but I find a lot more success in structuring working on the bike that way. It's like I'm up early. It's not gonna rain. It's not gonna be overtly hot. Whatever. Everything's laid out. Torque specs, instructions, potential hazard stuff that I know that I have to look out for, and then I start. And I find that I do it a lot faster being ready instead of me like starting taking stuff off. And it's like, oh shit, I need a spring puller. I need this, and it's like, babe, can you order this for me, kind of thing. And now I'm waiting another day. I've worked on my bike before. I've taken the monster completely apart to the point that it was taken apart for so long I forgot where certain things went. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to put everything back. I'm starting to forget, which was pretty wild. But it's never happened since then. I just kind of organize more and more. So,
yeah, it's funny you say that because it's like with motorcycles, there's a lot of knowing where to put things back the right order.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What screw goes where? You know what I mean? So for me, the more I learned those things, I started creating a chart of like a drawing of like, hey, this screw goes here. I'll take a piece of cardboard and outline something and put every time I take a screw out.
You put it in. Oh, I do the same thing. That's so good. Oh,
so now
man.
I know. So now I have this outline of it, and it's like, okay, this screw goes here, this goes there. I just pull it out one by one and put it back in the same order. So it helped me a lot. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you pull the screws out and you're like, oh shit, where does this screw go?
And sometimes
you know
some of them are longer than others. You got to know exactly where it went. That's why I started doing the cardboard thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's another hot tip, right, for you guys. I think when you're working on a bike, I think you have a sequence of like maybe maximum 4 bolts. You don't need a lot of tools. Yeah, you have like different pitch threads like an M4 and M5. Your bike tend to consist of just probably like maybe a sequence of 4 bolts, like size-wise in threads. A lot of people aren't aware about that neither. It's a matter of once you understand that, you'll know where certain things have to go. Like, you know what I mean? It's very interesting. I mean, we can definitely go into more in depth and stuff like that, but most people would probably get bored over that stuff. But I definitely find it very fascinating, for sure.
Nah, it's hard. It sucks when you working on your bike and then you realize you don't have the right tool.
Yeah.
For one thing and having to like wait because you're like, oh, I'm gonna get this done today on a Saturday. I'll go ride tomorrow, and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I don't have this tool. Now I can't ride tomorrow because I have to wait for it to come.
Yep. So, which Street Fighter are you thinking of getting? One of the new ones, or are you gonna get one of the original red ones, or because I know there's a couple of colors. There's the all black stuff. There's the red one, like mine.
Original red.
Original red.
Yeah.
You're a red guy. His Triumph is red too, by the way. So.
Yeah, the red one. Yeah, I love that. I love that color. You know what I mean? It's a great bike. So hopefully I could get me one of those. Yeah, that'll be like my second bike.
I'm stepping out the box, man. I'm trying to find this Aprilia.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this Aprilia. I found it on. I found it, but not in the color that I want. I want the acid gold. I'm going really far left. Like I want something really wild and very unique. So
that's out there.
Yeah. So I think that's gonna be kind of fun for the season. So I'll definitely have that, and hopefully I'll pick up a Supermoto this season too. So I'll probably end up doing both.
One of the things I want to try to get into also is doing track days. You know what I mean? I wanted to get a Gixxer 750 to just an older model just to kind of practice track days because I think that would help me with riding a little bit better. So I want to kind of get something that I don't really care if I drop it. Just be like, hey, you know what? If I drop it, oh well. Not oh well, but
it doesn't hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with my Triumph, I can take it to the track, but at the same time, if I drop that, now I don't have a bike I can ride. So I want to get something that I could have to take to the track days. Yeah.
It's so funny you mentioned that before we started the stream. I was looking at not a track bike, but last time I had Ishmael on, he was very good. He recommended the Ovali bikes. They're a little pricey, I think. They're small. They're like mini bikes, but they're mini race bike. You see like Josh Herring practice on those. I think they're like 10,000 each though. I'm thinking in the future I might want to get something like that to do like go-kart tracks. It's the same principle. Again, for me, I think I always say this with every year that pass of living, I want to minimize my risk, almost like me doing wheelies now. It's like, I'll do it on my hyper fine when I'm like completely 100 out of 100 shots without, without a potential hiccup. And I'm like, even on a bigger bike, if I high side or low side, I could still get hurt. And I'm like, damn, the Ovali would be great to kind of practice hitting apex and entering a corner speed at the right speed, and exiting the turn. The bike is very small. Even if you were the high side on that bike or low side, the chances of you getting hurt in a tracksuit is so small. And I'm like, shit, that's probably the best way for me to start tracking.
I mean, the track days for me, it's not something I think I'm going to do like every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a progression to get better on the street, be more comfortable at higher speeds. It's not saying I'm going to be going on the road ripping it, but at least I know if I'm going at a certain speeds, I could maneuver certain ways.
Let me just pull this up real quick as you're talking. Go ahead. You can definitely talk.
Yeah, so if I'm going at higher speeds, knowing I could lean the bike if I need to, not be terrified of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So this is one of the reasons I want to get into the track days, to get better throttle control through corners, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that Ovali bike's going to be a very good setup for it right now. Let me show you. I'm pulling it up now. This is it. I'm not sure if you can make these guys out. And I'm like, damn, these are cool, man. I was thinking of this one right here, the 190cc. It's like a little mini super bike. A lot of racers actually use those as practice bikes for like learning the track and the entry. It's only 4-speed. 190 cc's, really interesting. It's carbureted. It's kind of like old school, but the fiberglass fairing. It's running 12-inch Pirellis. Let's see here. Rear swing arm is aluminum. Forks, and you could adjust them and everything else. These little bikes are extremely impressive. See, you could do compression and rebound. You could adjust them. And you don't have to go. For me, is going to the track, the expense, I think, is always another thing I have to keep in mind.
Yeah,
but
that's one of the things, too.
If you have like one of those, you can go to a mini dirt bike track or course. You'll be able to ride those. They're only like $30 for the day. And you'll be able to get a very similar experience to a track. And really, it's really about understanding. And I'm like, this might be a good potential thing to kind of explore in the future. And they're cool as hell, actually, man. So that's what I've been kind of spending my time actually falling in love with today, by the way, for most of the people that are like, what is he doing with his time? Like today, I ended up working on a new video, and I'm like, oh, let me look at the volleys. Let me see how do these little bikes kind of fare out. And I think those are pretty cool. 10 grand, though, man. That's kind of steep. Even used, they come up... they're pretty expensive, I think, because they're trainer's bike. I think a lot of potential kids that's looking to become professional racers, the pro racers use them, and they're very durable bikes. So
that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the track days would be fun, but it's something to do once in a while. Yeah.
It's not cheap neither, I think, to do track days. That's the other thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's fun, man. So far, the speed triple is great. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm very excited to see you on the Street Fighter, man. Are you looking to pick this up to this year?
Hopefully by next year.
Okay, next 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be cool. I think you're gonna love that bike. I think it's easy to ride as well. I've told people. Pretty much everyone that I've spoken to that's asked me about that bike, that's probably my easiest bike to ride out of all the bikes that I own. It's easy. It kind of rides itself. It has all the nannies if you want to. If you want to take them all off and ride it very raw, which you can. I don't know if I would suggest it. It's definitely a lot. The tech, I liken it a lot. It's great for. I ride it through New York City without a problem. The way the rear cylinders deactivate for the heat, it's cool. My favorite, it's becoming my favorite bike and really more like my trophy bike at this point, really, because I do a lot of videos with it and install. Actually, oh, I'm so glad I thought about this. Sweetie, can you pass me the carbon fiber? Always gotta say what's up to Motivation, guys. By the way, I wanted to say a shout out to Cardo. After them watching the channel, they did join and provided quite a few little cool goodies. So I will have a link for a discount for Cardo headsets and everything else. They're totally officially part of the channel, and I haven't shot their promo yet to kind of roll. But yeah, Also NBT riding gear. Hold up. Oh my god. This week has been really cool because I've been like getting a lot of packages and stuff. NBT riding gear, like jeans and stuff like that. This is Aramid, really cool. And sweetie, can you pass me the Ilmberger carbon?
Sorry.
The carbon fiber? Just one of them. They sent me like a couple of stuff also. I'm very excited to kind of get this on. Actually, I got a couple of carbon stuff. Of course, Ilmberger guys at Motivation USA. I'm just gonna pull one of these out. By the way, these are expensive as hell. I am super fortunate to have the opportunity to be able to do this. I think each side is like $600, but I know you guys are not broke boys. You can get them if you want them. But yeah, so I got a bunch of these carbon fiber pieces for the Street Fighter that actually goes on left and right, and a couple of other pieces and stuff like that. I usually never brand my bikes and stuff, but I think moving forward, I might end up branding it. I mean, one thing I like working with Motivation, they never really push anything. And I've never really been the type of person that like putting brandings on my bike and stuff like that. But these guys have really made it a breeze to kind of partner with them, and they never really push for anything. But I think I probably should for sure. But yeah, definitely hit them up, guys, if you guys ever need any parts. Again, it's one great way to support what we do here and bringing you some great stories like Elijah's story to kind of wrap up the day. So anyway, before we kind of call it a night, I know it's running about an hour. Alijah does have kids and family, guys, so he can't be here all night talking motorcycles. One cool thing that you did recently, I think you were on a Netflix show, right? Or you sparring on a movie or a show?
Yeah, I was in a Netflix movie with Halle Berry, Bruised. Yeah.
That's freaking cool, dude.
I helped her with training leading up to the movie for a little bit and got an opportunity to have a small part in the movie, which is pretty cool.
Is she as beautiful as they say?
Yes. But it's not even just as beautiful as she's a beautiful woman, but she is one of the nicest people you'll meet. And the first day I met her, I didn't even know it was her.
Oh wow.
I'm training one of my clients upstairs, and she walks upstairs at the gym, and I'm thinking she's one of the women training downstairs. So she just walks into the cage. And another friend of mine, he knew her through her stunt coordinator and people like that. And she wanted to know about how to kind of like, she wanted me to talk to her about how to cut weight, how a fighters cut weight. And he was like, hey, Elijah's the person to talk to. So he introduced me to her, but he never told me, hey, this is Halle Berry. He goes, hey, she wants to talk to you, assuming that I recognized her when she walked in. Mm-hmm. So I'm literally speaking to her. I'm like literally face to face with her, like a foot away from her, talking to her. And for about
you didn't know it was Halle Berry. Oh my god.
I didn't know. So
oh shit.
It's kind of one of those things where it hits you like, holy shit, it's Halle Berry. But at the same time, you can't change your demeanor.
Yes.
Exactly. So I'm literally there and I'm like, holy shit, it's Halle Berry. That's running through my head whilst I'm speaking. And I'm like, okay, don't freak out. Don't freak out. Don't freak out.
That's so good. That was awesome. That's one for the books.
She's an awesome woman, man. I had the pleasure of working with her. And while she was in town training for the movie, I had the pleasure of also training with her for a little bit.
That's cool.
So it was awesome.
That's freaking cool, man. Last thing I was going to ask is about you fighting. Do you foresee yourself being in the, Octagon in the future?
No, not really. No? I love just stand-up, man. I love Muay Thai. I like keeping it on my feet.
Dude, watching you on social media and stuff like that, two things I noticed that you're extremely passionate about is, well, not two, I'd say three, which motorcycles, your family, and fighting.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
I'm never hanging out with this fucking guy, man. If I get him pissed, I can't even win the fight, so I'm not even gonna try it.
But the crazy thing about it though, it's like growing up, I was never an aggressive person. That's the funny thing about it. I was never like aggressive. That's why when I first got into fighting, my mom was pretty surprised.
Well, it's an outlet. It's an outlet. By the way, guys, I'll tell you guys a short story before we kind of wrap up for the night. I was in 34th Street with my wife, kind of hanging out. I guess that would be the second time we've actually crossed paths, and it was a hot day, and it's like I'm with my wife. I'm like walking down. I'm like, baby, let me carry it. We're going to the car, and I'm carrying her purse and shit. And I bump, and Elijah's like, wait, is that you, Mike? I'm like, really? Somebody just, and I'm holding a purse and shit. I'm like, yeah, it's me. Extremely polite and very nice. I'm like, great. I had to bump into somebody while I'm carrying a purse. Very nice. ClutchFirst, watch all the videos. But always very polite, man. Like I said, your demeanor doesn't come off like somebody that's very aggressive in terms of fighting and stuff like that. But man, it seems like you kick ass, dude.
I enjoy the sport.
Yeah, man.
All the injuries that come with it, enjoy it.
Oh my goodness. By the way, I did plug in your Instagram. By the way, guys, definitely give Alijah a follow. He's not like a big social media guy and stuff like that, but you want to know more about his journey and see his bike and stuff like that and his beautiful children, definitely check him out, man. He's a cool guy. You will see him on my channel. Hopefully we link up this season and ride safely.
Yeah, most definitely.
And definitely it'll be cool because I think he's more uptown. My office is downtown, so we could always link up and get some food. For me, if you want to get me out to ride, boys, invite me to eat. I will come and be a fat boy. Yeah, man, just let the people, I'm going to give you the floor, let people know where they can find you, and then we'll just wrap up. Guys, here we go, man. It's been a pleasure tonight. Here's Alijah.
Hey, what's up, guys? Again, Alija Clark. You can check me out on Instagram, Alija Clark. Just put in my name. Also, I'm one of the instructors at the Henzo Gracie Academy. If you ever guys feel free to come check us out, learn some martial arts. Yeah.
Yeah, man, guys. Elijah, thank you so much for tuning in tonight, man. I really appreciate everyone that came through. I know I didn't do all the shout outs because more people showed up. Dragoness Moto, she's a big fan of Triumph as well. She was glad that another Triumph rider was on. Betty Clark's here. Oh, I'm assuming, is that your wife?
That's my sister.
Your sister? Tell her to subscribe to my channel. Don't come watch here and not subscribe. Steven Turner. Covert Mecca was here. Georgia Grow Guy was here also. Quite a few more people joined. We had Adam SVT that came through. Chacon Jeremy. That guy Kells, K. Kells. The Ducati pilot. Quite a few people came through, guys. I really appreciate you guys. As always, you want to support me, hit those links in the description. And I'll catch you guys next Sunday. Peace.
Yeah,
man. See? Wasn't that bad, right?